seems very map dependent, and Blood Run once again will be the first map of the day. And this is, I think it's going to be an interesting way to start things off all the time.
I think we're going to see kRoNic so much today, because Blood Run being that predetermined map that everyone will play first means that we are more than likely to see her, because this really is a map where she can thrive. So even though we may not see her every single time, seeing her way more than we normally do is almost guaranteed, I think.
Well, this week particularly, kRoNic and Clutch, their popularity this week has skyrocketed in terms of what we've seen on stream. Clutch especially. Clutch has very much gone from zero to hero, from like the start of when we started this season, all the way to now, when in week 1 or just before week 1, admittedly, before we started, like, I actually think he got his buff that sort of, gave him that sort of dash mobility. He got that a few days before our very first qualifier, before the very first Thursday. So in week 1, admittedly, didn't really see much of him whatsoever. Week 2 started to see a little bit more, and as the weeks have gone on, it's been a little bit more and more and more, to the point that he has now picked on Corrupted Keep almost every single time. Whereas now, on other maps, he's still getting picked, maybe not as much as Corrupted Keep, but he is very much now getting picked a lot more than we used to see.
Now, statistically as well, Clutch is picked among the top 5 of champions. As far as I'm aware, the sort of top 5 picked champions tends to be Nyx, Ranger, Visor, Clutch, and Anarchy, all respectively across different maps. But you wouldn't have seen that before. It really is these changes to this champion. And just like that, we have quite an interesting matchup to start off. kRoNic versus Clutch. Now, Clutch is going to be the totems. If he catches a totem, it's not really going to help him on the shield wall there. So it's going to be another ability that can go through the shield and do guaranteed damage to Clutch, which sometimes you can't really do.
Also, another 2 champions with just a lot of momentum potential, right? If Clutch can get those early frags and start to really stack himself up, he becomes very hard to deal with. And kRoNic, if she can get those early frags and start setting up that network of totems, can be a nightmare herself.
He needs to get a rocket launcher. That's going to be the difficult thing. kRoNic could not have spawned further away from a rocket launcher if he wanted to. Going in for the rail instead, but trying to go through and get the rocket instead. Does get the rail, though. That was a very bold decision. Was to just sort of almost bully his way in. bukster really tried to stand his ground there, but at the end of the day, Clutch, he gets where he wants to go if he's got a shield wall in front of you.
Opting to go for a rail with a barrier up, though, is a bit of a more... I think it's a bit more of a heavy commitment, right? Because if you miss those shots, you're doing like no damage. Or is he going to take it down? Yes, he is. But if you use the sort of railgun when you've got the barrier up, you're almost like investing, right? Because if you get those hits, your barrier up time is going to be maximized because you're firing for a very little amount of time because you're shooting a single shot weapon. But if you miss, that damage is just being completely wasted.
Good catch on the rail again. bukster trying to change his momentum.
Really want to get hold of this mega health, but kRoNic tries to chase him down, isn't able to stop him getting it in time, so now kRoNic finds himself lower on health. Oh wow, nice. What a read. bukster knew exactly where he was going to go.
It was also a fantastic decision, was to like ignore the heavy armor, commit to that read, get the frag first. It did work out this time. Now kRoNic's down to his Nyx. Haven't seen a huge amount of Nyx today in terms of how well she's been performing. Really has come down to other champions. And that's just going to further increase that lead for bukster at this stage. He's got a lot more health, currently more armor as well, and the heavy armor hasn't even spawned yet.
He's getting the pickups, yeah, he's going to know she's towards the left there. It's a good situation for bukster to be in, though.
We're definitely going to see this patience continue throughout the evening, I think. So much is on the line in this 4th and final week.
Let's not forget, every single set that you guys see tonight is going to be the winner moves on to regionals as one of the last batch, and the loser, that's it. If there is no more qualification opportunities, this is the final opportunity. So it makes complete sense for these guys to be playing patiently to really try and give themselves the best chance they can.
Oh. Yeah, no doubt. He forced the Ghost Walk out, which means if he gets caught off guard here, he's not going to have that defensive mechanism, and even though he's picking up health, he is still so weak in comparison to bukster. At this point, I think bukster, again, just going to time that mega. As long as he can deny these important pickups, it really is going to be so difficult for kRoNic to make any form of a comeback. If he's not stacked, he can't win these fights, unless he hits really good shots and bukster misses lots, but so far, bukster's accuracy has been really impressive.
Oh, gets the heavy armor. Oh, doesn't get by the rail in return, though. That's like a free pickup, and now once again kRoNic finds himself on the brink of death. Bukster trying to chase him down.
Oh, he heard the armor, so he definitely knew he was down there, but because of the teleporter, there really wasn't much he could do about it. Here comes that Mega again. Consistently, Bukster taking these heavy items instead.
Tries to sort of sneak through in between the rockets. Oh, 20 health left.
I wonder if it's enough, and that isn't. Even though he got the heavy armor, he still didn't have the health to take it.
Wow, dying just on the brink of the 1 minute warning too, so now we're going to find ourselves going down to the wire on what is just round 1.
This is... this is next.
Oh, there's the telefrag. That's one way to end the first round.
I mean, so we saw one Ghost Walk, and then we saw another, but he just stayed where he was, and because of that, I guess it's just... Maybe it was just a slip of the mind. Maybe he forgot about the telefrag possibility or just thought that he wouldn't have committed to it. Maybe he considered it too risky of a decision, but even risky decisions, when they pay off and the reward is going to be making it to regionals, it's always going to be worthwhile.
Well, the reason it's going to work is because, you know, you want to reappear right as the mega health is there, so you pick it up. If the opponent wants to be picking it up too, you're going to appear on them and then just get that insta-kill.
Bukster's been able to top himself up, so actually committed to the fight. On one hand, you might have almost gone, why is he committed to that? But with the totem giving him that guaranteed 50 back, compared to the amount of damage he'd done to Clutch, then it definitely made sense. Oh. There's the denial. Clutch is going to be quite vulnerable to those sort of spacing-based rockets because he's got that big hitbox.
But still, look how beefy he is. Already stacked up, getting a lot of rockets here. Still has 75 health, but there we go. Bukster going to get the follow-up.
Great start for Bukster so far during that. You can already see actually 2 totems already in play. And in 10 seconds, he's going to have another one.
Makes wonder how much kRoNic's going to be walking into them though. So now he seems to be playing around them quite well. Mega health picked up.
It's going to be quite risky for kRoNic in some ways to delete some of those totems because he's now giving himself away, but Bukster incredibly stacked up here.
On a map like this, it seems like both players are so aware of where they are at all times anyway, then almost having them destroyed. And if it's like certain totems isn't as much of a problem. I mean, especially when it's someone like Ranger, for example, that the Dire Orb just can move you from point A to point B so quickly. Oh, missing that rail. Seems to be a running theme potentially today.
Big damage because kRoNic was able to get that mega health. Very defensive. kRoNic can afford to be defensive if she's going to be sort of peppering those totems down in really strange places. It's going to give her good eyes on where the opponent's going to be, which means if she's trying to establish distance and not overextend too much, a totem going down is going to give you that eyes, or give you those eyes on screen, I should say.
Oh, trading rail for rail, exactly. Totem's going to keep him alive though.
Unfortunately, using the health of the totem a little bit too early just because he shot the wall, but with the distance between him and kRoNic, it's really not the end of the world at this stage. But 2.5 minutes. The round is now halfway through. Bukster with that champion
He
lead.
really wants to get this armor for sure. There it is. Have to be very careful going to fight at all without any armor, because obviously let's not forget, even if you've got 100 health with no armor, that's like a single direct rocket or the Dire Orb, which is more likely going to be connecting that situation.
Especially at point blank, it can be quite hard to dodge that Dire Orb at close range because it's not just the Dire Orb itself, but it's the aura that surrounds it. I feel like as long as Bukster is nice and healthy, as long as he's got totems on the screen, so if they go down, he can see where they've been destroyed, so he can almost decide how far away the opponent is. Like right there, like he knows he's going to be within the range of the totem because he went for the rocket launcher, so now he can plan his next advance quite carefully.
Really just trying to stop picking up the mega health, it isn't quite able to. Just don't forget, if you shoot this rocket as fast as possible, you can almost like thread the needle in between them to try and squeeze in the time between the rockets hitting.
Oh, you can definitely time it for sure. You can definitely time it to make it a little bit easier to collect, but not the easiest thing to do. You can see there, Bukster actually, I think he can see the totem, but he's not destroying it. I think he doesn't want to give himself away. And because he's not destroyed it, he thinks he's around the other way, and there we go, it gave him a free rail. We can see the awareness, the adaptation.
kRoNic's super low though, oh, but even having 100 armor will not matter if you don't have the health to sponge it.
And you know why that works? We'll talk about it in a sec after this fight.
It's because he let the totem live. He used the totem against him.
And because of it, bukster was just looking in the opposite direction.
Galena betrayed by that which she loves the most.
Definitely not the first time we've seen it, though. Definitely not the first time. That higher level mind game.
kRoNic's taking a lot of damage from those rockets, but right now, as long as you get that heavy armor, as long as you've got some health, it doesn't seem to be the worst thing in the world. Already 30 seconds away from the end of the round, though, so next frag most likely going to decide who takes the second round.
Looking likely to go into sudden death here, so it's going to be a Ranger mirror to determine who wins the round. I mean, we could see an exchange in 20 seconds, but with how slow these guys have been playing, it seems a bit unlikely. However, catches him on the teleporter, this could be it. There's the teleport, the read, neither player teleports to their dire orb. They both stand true to it. Because of that, kRoNic, let's get the frag, and I mean, yeah. 3
After
seconds,
such a strong lead for bukster too, he was in the lead for like the vast majority of that round, but in the last minute, it just all fell apart. And now kRoNic finds himself one round away from winning the map. I mean, this is a weird situation, right? Because these rounds have both been so back and forth between them. And I don't want to say drawn out, because it makes it sound like they're basically stalling for it, but they're being very patient. But ultimately now, 2 rounds in the favor of kRoNic. kRoNic starting again with Clutch once again.
We haven't seen Clutch be able to do a whole lot yet, but part of that on the other 2 rounds is that kRoNic was unable to spawn near the rocket launcher, because the rocket launcher really is what Clutch thrives on, with those up-close confrontations. And if you don't spawn near a rocket, but the opponent keeps you at bay, and by the way, nice catch there, trying to go for the railgun. But if you don't spawn near a rocket, at the end of the day, you're not going to be as effective, and kRoNic hasn't been able to do that for 2 rounds.
I actually think bukster's been playing this matchup specifically very well. And Galena versus Clutch isn't something we get to see often, but it seems very slow. As I can say that though, kRoNic getting aggressive. Has a lot of health to go with this, and there's a rail going to connect, and bukster loses Galena straight away, and kRoNic now, the commanding lead, gets the spawn too.
I feel like that's actually a very consistent spawn. A lot of the time when we see a frag happen near Mega Health, consistently the opponent will then turn around, fire a preemptive rocket, and then rail, and it's almost always on the money. I think it's just a knowledge thing at this stage.
Just knowledge of where the spawn points are and when they're likely to be there. Oh, there's that direct mid-air, but Clutch being a big boy, he's going to take that one. Look at this speed. I'm still not used to seeing Clutch move that fast.
One of his greatest strengths, by all means, is that he can basically go wherever he wants, and because of that speed, he can chase you as well, which is why the shield wall is such an effective option. It used to be beforehand that you'd see the shield wall and you could almost outrun it, wait the shield out, and then go in afterwards, but now...
Literal tank.
Absolutely.
3 and 9. Not the heaviest hitting rockets I've ever seen. A little bit of damage at the very least, just to let kRoNic know that he is in fact up there. Oh, bukster was going around the corner, but decided not to. Good call, really.
Don't want to walk into a clutch with rail and rocket with that much health.
Oh, wow. Quick shot.
He's going to be aggressive. He's going to chase this one down, I think. He's done so much damage, and he's still got the shield wall. Here we go. Here comes Clutch. There's the good read on the dire orb. Just needs one more.
He's committing to this fight. All or nothing, and it will be all.
That was a good read on the dire orb right there. He just knew he was going to teleport to it.
Right, we need these. If he hit all these rails, it'll be over already. Bukster, there's the ghost walk. Oh, he takes the armor away from him. Bukster is not in a good situation now. Trying desperately to stuck himself back up again. Done a good job of getting full health with a bit of armor. He's going to walk straight to him. Hasn't got ghost walk. He pops the barrier. This could be guaranteed win.
Minimal rockets, and actually fumbling his jump towards heavy armor, I think might have saved him. Because kRoNic was dedicated towards aiming for that heavy armor. He was going to go for the shot if he went for it, but he fumbled it and he fell down. Oh no!
I was about to say he's not going to go for this armor because he doesn't have the health to rocket jump over to it. And then he killed himself. Oh my lord, but that might have given bukster a lifeline.
That might have been...
Is Bukster going to win the round on that?
Crucial suicide of all time.
But there was like, that wasn't even like a clutch, like in the last minute bad decision. He had a long time to calculate that damage.
Oh, either way, Bukster's actually on the verge of making a comeback.
I mean,
because of it.
if Bukster wins the round on that, that is why you don't make those mistakes.
These rails, I mean, it's just a hair's length they're missing by. Mistimed the jump in between rockets.
Oh, 20 health left on Bukster though, if kRoNic can get this kill.
with 25 health, and even with that armor, 25 health still, it's not a huge amount, but there we go. Did little pickups, put him straight back up there, but quite a funny situation we find ourselves in.
Oh, you can see the Ghost Walk is popped. Oh, and kRoNic is able to salvage what could have been a disastrous round.
Could have been a really costly suicide, by all means. Just didn't quite calculate how much damage he had left, I suppose. But because of it, it's going to be 3 straight rounds for kRoNic anyway. But I feel like, can you imagine that scenario where you accidentally kill yourself and then a comeback happens, but then you lose the next 2 rounds? I mean, that would have been something that you regret forever.
I think it's a testament to just how diverse Quake Champions can be played, though, and how on the ball you have to be at all times. Because you might see rounds go down to 5 minutes, go down to overtime, and think, you know, wow, this is really slow. This is, you know, a really slow-paced game. You know, maybe this is how it always goes. But then that kind of thing happens where someone accidentally commits suicide, and then the next character gets taken out immediately, and in like less than 30 seconds, the game is completely evened out. Even you can have like 4.5 minutes of complete dominance, but one mistake can cost you 2 champions, and that's exactly what we saw there, which took it down to being so close to a full comeback in that round.
So the team composition was quite traditional, I feel.
At least what's becoming traditional.
Which is a very strange scenario, because normally it was Visor picked all the time, always Nyx, always Anarchy, always Ranger. They were always like sort of core. We'd see them on every single team, but now we are seeing Galena, we are seeing Clutch. People are starting to experiment a little bit more, and I think the experimentation is paying off. It takes players to innovate and to start looking into potential possibilities of different champions, but the further we're going down the line, it's becoming ever so much more prominent. Now we're going Galena and Clutch again. A bit worried about, and that's why Clutch and Scalebearer together on this map. I mean, we've seen the damage these guys can do together on the same team composition.
I mean, I'm not sure if Corrupted Keep was a good decision, considering that kRoNic's Clutch was such a big problem. And Clutch has been rising in popularity over the last couple of weeks, that much is undeniable, but his pick rate on Corrupted Keep is staggering. He is a very popular champion on this map, and the fact that you take a guy that is clearly a Clutch player and then give him Corrupted Keep when he just won the first map. I mean, maybe there's going to be some strategies here. Obviously, it's going to be the Galena pick was taken straight away again, so Galena clearly a comfort champion pick here going into Corrupted Keep. And we've seen a few sort of, I don't want to say gimmicky plays, but some tricky stuff done with Galena on this map before. A bit more less common for sure than seeing Clutch kind of just pop that barrier, get right in your face, and you all of a sudden not really having the distance to run away anymore. But we've definitely seen Galena work on this one too. So I don't want to just completely write it off already, but I'm a bit concerned that now we have Scalebearer and Clutch on a map that benefits both of them greatly.
Well, we'll see what happens. This could potentially be our final game of this series. kRoNic being up 1 game means he's got quite a comfort zone here. If he can keep playing well, he's going to be fantastic. He gets an immediate frag, and that's because Clutch got that rocket launcher. The first call to action will always be get that rocket launcher away from Clutch if he spawns first, because the second he gets it,
he still had his barrier too. Wow! And just like that, in 20 seconds, even though, I mean, that's kind of it, right? The last round almost went down to 5 minutes. 20 seconds into this round, and we are almost done already.
It's been because bukster has been unable to challenge. He hasn't been able to get a rocket himself, which means that even if he's able to crack the shield, he can't get enough damage to compete with it, which means that Clutch will just pepper it down for free as often as he likes. And now 150 health, 125 armor. I would be very worried if I was bukster, and with the nail gun on hand, I don't think he's got anything else to answer back with. I mean, and I think kRoNic knows it.
If all he has is a nail gun, tries to get an LG, I think, but if all he has is a nail gun, we've got kRoNic, he is fully stacked, he has the barrier, he is going to be able to track that Ghost Walk. This is going to be a very difficult situation for bukster to make this comeback.
He's just playing that, he's just sitting on the rocket launcher at this stage. bukster kind of needs that to fight back, and if he hasn't got it, it's going to be so much harder. Super nail gun's managing to push him away. He's going to land a few more of those nails because of Clutch's big hitbox, and there's the rocket. He's still going to follow him, can still see it.
Wow, and that's it. That is why Nyx does not have an easy time versus Clutch. She pops Ghost Walk, he pops Barrier, and the X-ray we can see on Spectator, he will see through the barrier once he pops it. It is a complete counter to that ability if you have it saved.
And when she re-emerges, he's still going to have shield wall.
Because Barrier lasts longer than Ghost Walk.
So kRoNic goes for the Mega. The fight towards Rocket already begins, trying to keep bukster away from it, but bukster,
not again. Surely not again.
The danger is that bukster has been forced to run away, and because of that, he's allowed kRoNic to collect the rocket again. I'd be surprised.
bukster is quite stacked up on armor at the very least, so he should be able to sponge a bit more damage.
Caught him in a bad spot, forcing Clutch to use it defensively. Can he seal this? Is it going to be enough? 17 health. Bukster, though, also unbelievably weak.
Oh, tries to sustain himself, but he gets the health before. Bukster was able to top himself up a little bit with a totem, but it wasn't enough to sponge that much rocket damage immediately.
I don't think Bukster was actually prepared for him to be directly behind him. He was almost like backing up, looking in the opposite direction as he took that mega. Probably expecting kRoNic to be somewhere else. Fortunately, just punished.
Oh no, mid-air direct, that's not what Bukster needs. Dirome goes in, doesn't connect with any damage. Is he gonna be able to get this return frag?
Such minimal damage coming through on these rockets. He's just not able to seal the deal. I feel like we definitely should have seen a frag there from at least one of them.
Rocket's wired quite on the mark. Let's not get splash damage as mighty, but it's not quite as good as just those raw direct 100 damage.
Bukster's trying to do as much damage to Clutch as he can before we see the shield wall, because the second we get point blank, that is when Clutch activates. The defensive shield wall again. It's going to be down for quite a while. Is this when Bukster presses the advantage?
He's trying, but yeah, a lot of damage there. Does he teleport to this? Yeah, would have been risky.
Too much of a risk, I think, especially seeing as he had those pickups nearby. Would have been suicide to teleport to it right then. But kRoNic. Oh, a little bit of self-damage, but it's not going to affect Ranger as bad, and the LG finishes the job. A long and lengthy exchange right there, but Bukster does come off better.
I know, this will be the first time we've seen Scale Bear in a while. What has kRoNic got? Oh, he made the read, but he didn't quite turn the right way when he re-emerged. Is Bukster going to get the kill? Yes, he does. Bukster able to take down the two big bodies back to back.
He was correct on the charge too. Like, he knew he was there, but just wasn't able to connect anything.
Read on the right room, just not maybe quite on the money as to Bukster's location in the room. But, you know, I mean, to be fair, that is a hard read for you to make, and kRoNic almost there, but not quite enough.
Both down to range, but Bukster with that Nyx waiting in line. Much more comfortable for the round, but so far kRoNic's taken every single round, so if Bukster doesn't get this round, it's going to be quite a mental checkout. It can be, and does manage to get one frag. If he gets a good spawn on Nyx, he's going to force out the Ghost Walk. Looks like he has indeed got a good spawn, but no Ghost Walk. Bukster still has that defensive mechanism.
Much more happy to take that mega health and not let Nyx get it, I think. See that Bukster just picked up himself a rocket launcher, so going to have that big damage potential. kRoNic doesn't have any armor, has a little bit now.
Bukster's in big trouble, but actually did a fantastic job of fighting his way out, but in the super nail gun doing so much damage, but really not going for anything else. There we go, Bukster gets a round on the board. Very important to make sure that he can do this. If anything, just a morality round.
When you've got someone like Nyx that is that good at sort of just zipping around and juking around, I mean, the nail gun might do 20 per nail, but it's going to be hard to confirm those nails, especially when she's zipping around trying to shoot with a rocket.
Now, Bukster, yeah, he spawned directly on the rocket. That was exactly the spawn that he needed. There's that defensive totem. Funnily enough, we haven't actually really seen that teleporter used much at all.
It's because all the fighting's taking place on it. Oh, kRoNic's going in. Oh, the barrier completely wasted. kRoNic's going to have to be careful until that comes back again.
We've actually seen a couple of shields that, not wasted as such. I mean, that one kind of seemed somewhat wasted because he went through the door with it activated, but
it looks like kRoNic is really trying to force these early fights like we saw in the first round, but Bukster is just doing so much of a better job of playing around them now.
That's going to be a free frag.
Just like that.
It's because he's not being caught in a situation. He's almost, the shield is being used on Bukster's terms, and that's what's really important here, is that whenever kRoNic is forced to fight, he uses the shield just to stay alive. And if he's doing it to stay alive, then he's not going to be able to, and eat so much damage. That's going to hurt so much, and with 19 health, he can't really take it. So quite historically, we see people go for like last-minute rocket jumps, where they take the rocket jump damage instead of the charge, and they juke it that way. Really surprised we didn't see it that time. Trying to go in for a telefrag. Commits a little bit too heavy, I think. Bukster now with no escape mechanisms whatsoever.
Wow,
the
there we go.
Melts.
I must say, considering we actually haven't seen much of Scale Bearer at all this week. Really, at all. But kRoNic playing this supremely well. Is he going to jump off the edge? No, not quite.
He was on the brink of it.
Oh, there we go.
Walk.
Oh, that is unfortunate. kRoNic going to go down. I mean, yeah, there's not really much you can say about that. It's just a good old-fashioned rocket to the self.
Bukster is nice and healthy for the fight, though.
Once again, we find ourselves down to this final champion face-off.
100 damage!
rocket.
kRoNic is in big trouble. I know he's on 50 health, but that's not going to be much at all with the amount of damage Bukster has the potential to do.
Mega health up. Already taken down by Bukster. Heavy armor going to be following soon.
Here he goes! That's all he needed. Now, Bukster, actually, you mentioned, we feel like it may have been a mistake picking these two, picking Corrupted Keep into someone that already has a dangerous clutch, and now he's gone in for Scale Bearer. I feel like at the moment, though, I feel like we haven't seen as much of Clutch being able to do what he wants. Now, here's the danger. He spawned really far away from the rocket, which has allowed kRoNic to pick it up, and now he's just going in for the chase. He's on 30 HP already. Not as much of a good start this time.
You see kRoNic going straight for the rocket, trying not to let him pick it up, but Bukster doubles back, gets himself the heavy armor secured.
Look at how fast he went. Easily goes to where he needs to go.
But if kRoNic can stop Bukster from picking up the rocket launch, you see how much more difficult it's going to be to take down Clutch without one.
And you can just see kRoNic is just keeping his eyes glued to it. He knows the pickups aren't going to be here for a few seconds. No doubt we're going to see him try and probably take the Mega or Heavy, depending on what his choice will be. He just wants to keep him away. There's the totem. There's that shield wall, trading the rockets, and he just cannot survive it. But on this map, a huge part of this comes down to spawn. Because kRoNic spawned on rocket, he was able to play his game immediately.
But not necessarily that fight, though, because kRoNic saw that Bukster threw his totem down already. So kRoNic just saw that to mean, okay, right, well, I'm just going to kill that totem, pop my shield wall. Now you have nothing to sustain yourself with. And he got the frag straight away because of it.
Very reactive play coming out of kRoNic so far. Looking for those abilities. That's that heavy armor down. Ranger, really chunky.
Almost like playing a bit of a cat and mouse game right now, Bukster. But he seems to be on the other side of the map.
Something we're seeing in this matchup in particular, though, is Bukster using that Dire Orb to go through the shield to do damage that Clutch can't challenge. It does seem to be very important if you're able to sort of catch him with the rocket. If you catch him with splash damage in between the shield wall, and that was a lovely predictive rocket.
Well, this could be a bad situation for Bukster to be in Dire Orb. Works out, teleported to it, didn't get a lot of damage, and once again, Bukster, this could be almost like a repeat frag from before.
Oh no, he fumbles his input! I'm fairly certain that was a misclick and did not intend to press his ability key twice. Sometimes if you do that, you accidentally get your orbital drill, which, yeah, I know, that is a move he has. Some people even forget he's got it because you never see it used.
Wow, yeah, and Bukster, just like that, again, like last game, one mistake has potentially cost kRoNic 2 champions, because Bukster, I should say, used the drill to get the kill on Clutch and went straight to where he thought the Scale Bearer was going to spawn, and he got it. It's crazy just how punishing your mistakes can be. I mean, I'm not going to lie, after seeing how kRoNic played the first round of this map, I thouut this was going to be a wash. I thought this was going to be just a clean 2-0 in the situation, but Bukster has turned this around in brilliant fashion.
A little bit of the armor ready to, just means he's naturally going to be a bit more healthy. Make that a mega health as well. kRoNic is very far away from this heavy armor. Not sure he's going to be able to fight for it.
I mean, let's not say the comeback isn't possible, but we definitely haven't seen it as much today as we have in the past. So players are really sort of starting to maintain their leads a little bit stronger.
Oh, caught him down the bottom. They trade Dire Orbs for Dire Orbs. We've seen that quite a lot. And that Ranger Mirror, where they both kind of go for it at the same time. Almost like two good players think alike. We're seeing kRoNic get a lot of like what you would consider successful ambushes, but he's not able to get much. But at the last minute, he does score another frag.
Right, kRoNic needs to make this one work though. Doesn't have any armor. Catches him on spawn, but is already very low. Doesn't get chased though. Doesn't commit to it.
Mega's up. No one has Mega yet, but Bukster a little bit more free to collect it as he runs away.
Heavy armor up for another 3 seconds though. kRoNic should be able to get it, but you see Bukster sort of running towards it now too.
Taking quite a bit of damage there. Already lost to his default health and armor again.
So it was important for him to deny that from Nyx. How much of a pain she can be.
Oh!
There's 100 direct rocket. He's going to see that damage value.
Yeah,
almost
you know
guaranteed for bukster to run away after that one.
More damage coming out. The Ghost Walk, bukster, using it to run away rather than using it aggressively. Very, very passive. Bukster does not want to let this round slip, even though he's 1 round away from tying things up 1-1, which he does manage to do. That passive play made a lot of sense because, as I was just about to say, he was up 1 round, but if he lost that round in that exchange, kRoNic would have, just like that, been match point up against him. So there's no real room for error here, and unfortunately on kRoNic's side, you see why.
Now, what map do you reckon we're going to be going with in return?
Truly, I don't know.
In this situation, had that been not Corrupted Keep and had lost, in this situation I'd be going probably Corrupted Keep because Clutch, because I mean obviously Scalebearer was a good choice for it too. Scalebearer I think had very success in that map for him. He definitely looked comfortable on the champion for sure. The ball rushes were on point for the most part. But ultimately I think Scalebearer is just a champion that's just, I don't want to say getting phased out, but we do see less and less of him every week. I think Clutch has really started to sort of come up and take that place from him, because there was a point that we were seeing Scalebearer in almost every lineup, especially on maps like Blood Covenant. Again, Corrupted Keep being one too. Maybe Blood Covenant could be a map we see him go to, because if he runs with a similar lineup in Scalebearer, in Clutch, they're not bad champions for that map at all. And if he has got that that Ranger in reserve too, who's also good on Blood Covenant, perhaps that could be the choice.
Part of me feels like if we see a map that isn't Corrupted Keep, I feel like we're not going to see 2 tanky champions on his team composition, because he did really well on the Blood run with the 2 lightweights as well.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say, because evidently he can play well with a multitude of different champions.
Which we've already seen is crucial skill to have.
Because we didn't see lots of Scalebearer in terms of how well the champion performed in that map, I'm not sure we're going to see it again. In terms of map, Ruins of Sarnath, I don't think will complement the game plan that we currently see kRoNic have. I feel like Blood Covenant fits... Oh no, Blood Covenant does actually fit Clutch quite well. I'm thinking of the other champions, really. But if he's going to go Scalebearer, it's more likely he'll go for Blood Covenant. Well, he's gone in for Blood Covenant. Does he go with Scalebearer again? So Clutch first, that's a given to be expected.
Clutch definitely seems to be the big old favourite. Ranger, once again, he's been doing good with that too. Yep. And Nyx, now Nyx, speaking of powerful champions on Blood Covenant, Nyx is definitely ticking that box for sure.
We're at a stage, right, almost feel like Nyx on Blood Covenant is a must because of how amazingly she can move around that map. And I say it every single time, and it will never stop being as relevant, is the fact that when Nyx is on this map, she goes where she wants to go, whenever she wants. And that in comparison with the fact that there's a lot of close quarters, you are vulnerable to a lot of rail situations, especially when it comes to like taking mega health, it's out in the open, taking heavy armor, it's out in the open. That Ghost Walk is such an amazing tool for getting out of sticky situations that if you were any other champion, you would almost be just vulnerable to the point where you might just die for free if you're out of position. If she's out of position on Blood Covenant, it's not as bad because she can just get out of there.
To be fair, kRoNic has actually been getting caught out by that a lot though. I mean, how many times does he just get caught in a corner or next to a wall where he basically can't move and he just gets rocketed to death? Nyx is perfectly just getting out of that situation completely. You're like, okay, I've made a mistake. I'm not where I should be. Hit the Ghost Walk and run away. Obviously, it's not a foolproof guaranteed escape. Some champions do have answers for it. And University, if you just make a good read on where she's going to be, you can do it. But ultimately, it's a lot more of a survival situation than a lot of other champions can have.
Now, Bukster's going in with that Galena already, but another good spawn for Clutch. This spawn in particular lets him get heavy armor, lets him get rail, lets him get rocket. He can get them all really quickly. If you take rocket first, you can get that rail, grab that heavy armor, and then just rocket jump back up there, taking minimal damage to yourself. Almost very similar to almost like a ranger spawn of how quick you can get all these vital pieces of equipment.
So it looks like first Clutch and first Galena is preferred for both of these players so far. We've seen that, I believe, every single round so far across all 3 maps.
Almost running headfirst into that totem, so it's a good thing that you got rid of it.
Considering how mobile Clutch can be, it's almost not as much of a problem to destroy those totems, just to make sure you're not going to accidentally run into them. I mean, Clutch is a big boy, he can take the damage, but ultimately you don't want to be taking unnecessary damage, especially if you've sort of overcapped yourself with health.
You can already see how many totems that Bukster is able to set up as well. No doubt, yep, no doubt he heard the jump pad there, but Clutch has got the luxury of being able to somewhat alter his jump pad arc because of that air dodge. Similar to like almost like what Anarchy can do, but there we go, gets the mega health. Is it going to be enough to keep him alive? That's the danger. Clutch has so much health.
Oh, unfortunately, he's going to contact with the wall. I think bukster's going to get away with it, yeah. I mean, that was one healthy Galena. How much damage did she take?
When she's fully stacked up, she is deceivingly tanky.
That's what Totem and Mega Health will do for you, I suppose. bukster really playing around that well.
He did get caught majorly off guard too, so just a great job of surviving, managing his resources. Unfortunately, these missed rails against Clutch are going to be very punishing because he takes so much to kill anyway. If you're missing rails, it will just take so much longer. There you go, kRoNic keeping it alive. Keeping the Totem alive and letting bukster run around the corner thinking he's not there.
Always going to miss that rail. That was crucial. Get the heavy armor for it. Not a big problem.
There's the rockets.
There we go. Yeah, dashes straight at her this time. bukster going to fall down. Big scary Clutch just dashes right in his face.
You can see how dangerous this champion can be when everything works out. And he's taken 2 rails. He's going to top himself up. Now it will just take 2 more at least. That's without armor too. Misses 1 rail, but the shield wall just to try and take the other. Yeah, not even firing, just trying to... That's actually a nice little read, actually. Doubling back. You can see bukster still is confident that he's down there. That one read of kRoNic to go down the stairs and then back up has decided exactly where bukster's going.
Oh, wow. Immediately appears the rail and a shot. bukster plays really well from behind, I've noticed. He's just really good at keeping his composure.
Doesn't seem to crack. Now he's going in, pressing the advantage. There's the dire orb, but doesn't really manage to achieve much. Tries to go in for a mid-air, but it fails. 100 damage rocket isn't enough. The rail comes through, and kRoNic loses Clutch again.
Well, bukster catches him a spawn, doesn't have any weapons at all, but bukster is quite low himself. Rail's going to do a good job of, wow, almost killing kRoNic completely.
Damage of the charged rail. You'd be surprised how much an extra 10% or 10 damage will go.
Oh, this is a good situation for bukster to be in. After being down for a few minutes, is now able to even things up with champions, but at very least have more health and armor to work with.
We've only seen 2 frags in this game though, and we're 1 minute away from things being finished. That's 1. Gets knocked into the air though, but that's a consistent tool we see. When you get knocked into the air by a rocket launcher, using an instant dire orb just to prevent the guaranteed rail or the guaranteed follow-up because you have no air control. Dire orb does seem to give you that air control.
Oh, wow. Didn't quite have the right weapon out at the time. On that 1 minute warning though, in 30 seconds, it's going to be next frag takes it, so I'm inclined to think that by this point, maybe it's going to be whoever dies first now is just going to win the round, or lose the round, I should say.
It's getting quite nervous.
Going down to a lot of these 5-minute limits today.
He wasn't ready around the corner. Waiting for him. The ambush. Doesn't teleport to dire orb, but with 75, oh, way less than that now. Doesn't even need to get railed. Can he get away? He does manage to slip the net.
Yeah, it's because kRoNic opted to go back for the heavy armor instead. He went for caution.
Part of me is very surprised to see no chase there. I know it's playing passive in what is the final game, so passive play does make sense, but
5-minute warning.
I wonder if only kRoNic knew how weak bukster was. kRoNic with a little bit of extra, but bukster's still super healthy. Definitely does not know that kRoNic is there right now. And that's why he got hit by a rail. Oh, the aggression! No! Doesn't manage to get the dire orb. Tries to lie in wait and surprise him, but there we go.
They really seem to, I believe both of them are really sort of favouring that ambush style by the end there, really just trying to catch them out.
When the pressure is on and the round goes closer and closer to ending, they start waiting for each other more and more.
It's like the closer we get to sudden death, the riskier they begin to play, but up until that point, they're just so careful.
In some ways, almost playing for the 1 life rather than the 3 lives. Like it's a game plan, an entire game plan.
I mean, you use that clock. 5 minutes isn't a long time if you're the one playing. Use it to your advantage.
For sure.
If you have the champion limit, you know, if you have the champion lead, I should say, you know, do it. Why not? If they're not forcing fights to you, if they're not chasing you down, you've got nothing to lose.
Going in with that
barrier, super shotgun.
But actually the penetrating damage, and 2 totems back to back. The shield wall cannot save Clutch from totems that do that much damage. And I feel like this is why Galena first is working wonders if we're consistently seeing kRoNic go for Clutch as well.
Just quickly able to get those totems down too. bukster really used those well, managing the cooldown perfectly.
Really masterful but confident Galena play. I don't feel like this is not the gameplay of someone who has almost like a pocket Galena for specific maps. This is someone who plays Galena every single map. Like, this is a Galena specialist, and bukster putting on a clinic in this round.
Chasing him down, has the shotgun. Being careful though, he knows that kRoNic has a rocket launcher. And there we go, heads him off completely. And once again, after last round going down to so long, again, a minute into this one, and already bukster finds himself with 2 champions killed.
Really masterful totem placement throughout this round. He's been very hard to predict. Also knowing when to use it as an attack and when to use it as setup. If he's passively running around the map, that's when he lays down the totem. But if he knows he's near an opponent, he is just going to save it for that added extra attack.
Now, we've already seen how hard it could be to deal with Galena just with her self-sustain with the totems alone, but then you throw onto account big armor, heavy armor on top of that too. It's a dangerous situation to be in.
By the way, that was a nice little totem throw right there. And even then, the totem meant that kRoNic was unable to take the rail. He's going to get it now, but it wasted valuable time. And because of that, like, he's taken the rail, he wasn't able to fight back from distance. Even though the totem was destroyed and didn't hit him, it wasted the time. It's the utility of this champion.
And once you can actually see bukster doing that a lot, throwing those totems at the base of the jump pad, just to stop him from being able to use it, really forcing you that if you're going to go for that mega health, you have to do it from the top. Does he know he's here?
Definitely not. Oh,
yeah,
here we go.
Sure? They got the gauntlet out. Oh, maybe not.
I was so excited there. That was hype.
There's one rail. Good shot.
Yeah,
First walk forced.
I feel like with Galena on this map too, like, although you wouldn't really see Galena get picked because of her lack of mobility, like, she can't really move around the map as free as every other champion. But instead, all of the focus goes on to how effective her totems can be. There we go, LG only needs a couple of ticks, and that's going to be another round. But like I was saying, she can't move around the map the same way everyone else can. She hasn't got that freedom. She's a bit more predictable of how she has to move around. However, it is such a close course map. No emphasis goes on movement, but all emphasis goes on totems. And right now, the totems have been the absolute MVP of this whole team comp for bukster.
But now kRoNic opting to go for Ranger first instead of Clutch. I think he's weird that sort of like rushing down style can work versus Galena, but if she has those totems ready to go, she's just so hard to kill. Just great at keeping herself alive, and especially with someone like bukster that kRoNic knows what he's doing.
kRoNic wasn't actually able to destroy that totem in that exchange. I think he didn't want to waste a single shot towards shooting a totem instead of Galena. That's another strength that she will have, is that when you have the totem out there, the opponent kind of needs to make a choice. Do I shoot the totem or do I shoot Galena? It's rare that bukster will be standing on his totem at the time of the fight unless he needs it for health. So if you're shooting one rocket towards a totem and not the enemy, then that's one shot that hasn't gone towards them, and the time it takes for that might be enough for you to die.
Or I've already seen how close some of these 1v1s are getting and how little life people are left with. Those single shots can make all the difference. Oh, I think kRoNic's waiting for him. Yes, he is. Didn't get a lot of damage at all, though.
There we go. Giving himself the health back with the totem on top of doing a rail of his own is just going to, almost in essence, be higher damage. You know, because he's gone for the rail and he's given himself more health. That gap is just so much bigger. But kRoNic, with that mega health, nice and stacked up.
Look at that sustain again.
She can tank so much damage if your management of the totems is on point, of which bukster's really is.
Oh. Oh, he chases it down!
Yeah,
Wow!
that was going to be dangerous. Unfortunately, Bukster was able to completely see that Dire Orb go through. It made sense because kRoNic really didn't want to stay by that wall. He wasn't really going to be able to get away from that hallway. Unfortunately, just chased down.
Problem is, though, Bukster has 3 totems on the field at least already. Oh, point blank and taken down. Bukster playing around this shield brilliantly.
I think as kRoNic said in the chat just then, how? I think he must have thought he did more damage. He must have felt like Galena was weaker than she was. At the time of the frag, he still had almost 70 HP.
Well, that could always be how you're getting through the barrier, but we saw Bukster, some shots connecting as kRoNic would shoot and the barrier was going down, or at the very least splash damage on the arena. We saw Bukster hitting rockets behind the barrier and the splash damage was hitting. Say, Bukster is playing around the barrier so well.
And no Ghost Walk. I feel like kRoNic might have had to use it a little bit preemptively there or something, but we didn't see a Ghost Walk there. And just like that, it's actually going to be match point. This Galena performance is, I'm going to be honest, this feels like some of the most impressive Galena gameplay that we have seen in this World Championship.
This is one hard-working Galena for sure, and already starts off with the mega health. That is the perfect start for Galena. Has 1 totem down on the field already, and look, already 10 seconds away.
Here comes kRoNic. He's going to waste no time. He spawned right near the rocket, and he is going to use it.
He can't. We're already out of there.
That was a very aggressive approach too. I think kRoNic might have gone, right, I'm going to rush this guy. I've got a rocket launcher. I'm not going to let him set up the totems. I'm not going to let him sustain, but already with 2 totems out there, he is managing this cooldown.
Something I really like about Bukster's Galena right now, though, is just his knowledge on the trajectory of throwing those totems from max range.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And kRoNic is just taking damage. He's actually getting out sniped, but there we go. There's 1 totem. And there's the second to make him healthy.
My lord, look at that.
And just for good measure, there was a 3rd one as well, just because. Gotta be careful. No totems for 15 seconds.
He is getting railed, but will still survive. He's got those 3 totems for health.
I think he realized. I think he realized though that
one.
Yeah. I think he realized that kRoNic was actually heading down. Then he's like, well, I can heal myself on this totem, but I'm gonna die anyway, so I'm gonna leave that one alone. I think.
Still though, 30 seconds away from having the next one.
kRoNic is so heavily stacked. It's a much better start for him, even though he's not got an early frag. He's able to keep Bukster on the back foot. Bukster's strength in those last rounds is that he was so consistently healthy and ready to tank whatever kRoNic threw at him. But now kRoNic has got the lead instead. That's the first time he's got the rail. kRoNic's almost in some ways sort of given up the rail to him.
I quite like how Bukster is choosing what fights to take, though, because kRoNic, like, already 2 or 3 times in this round alone, has tried to force him to fight, but Bukster just isn't having any of it. As soon as he realizes he's not got the upper hand in the fight, he is just going to get out of there, and he has the sustain to do it. Maybe not quite the mobility options, but the sustain is definitely there.
Confident with the cooldowns as well. It was near the hourglasses, and that's why he opted to go for the totem, because he's going to get it back much quicker. Oh! Unfortunately, though,
that rail.
Unfortunately, this defensive style kind of needs to go hand in hand with rails, and so far, Bukster hasn't really hit a couple. Tries the flick rail, but a little bit too quick.
Misses another one.
Couple of really crucial misses here. kRoNic is staying unbelievably stacked up with both health and armor, all because the rails are not connecting. This has been a slow round, almost 3 minutes and not a single frag. Will it go down to overtime?
I mean, this matchup right here of Galena versus Clutch, if we see this for 2 more minutes and nothing happens, this will be the last one we see. Maybe this could be the final frag for all we know. Depends how they want to play it. Bukster wants to take this down to that 1v1 in the 5-minute mark. When he has... Oh, hang on a minute, or not!
Full speed ahead. Oh, he misses the rail! He's going to retreat, but not quite! Cannot reach it in time! He was half a second away from reaching his totems and surviving the rail, but not today. And here comes a great spawn. kRoNic has caught him on the spawn. Can he capitalize? Another ambush.
Viral reaction from kRoNic, seeing him come around the corner. Wow, kRoNic is paying attention. And 1 frag away from tying things up to be on match point for both of them. Is every series today going to come down to the final round?
I mean, this is the most important week for these players. This is their last chance to qualify. To remind anyone that may be slightly new here, So that whoever loses this map will be out of the Quake World Championships, and whoever wins will make the 4th week of the qualification process. The regionals among the final 8.
It is all about making that regionals, and that's what they're playing for. Win the series, make regionals. Do well at regionals, go to World Championships. It is as simple as that.
And you know everyone here, they want a part of that. They want a shot of that $1 million pot.
Oh, Wayward Rocket, but again, this is clutch.
Oh, misses the rail. Hang on a minute, bukster. He's not going to have the shield wall, so we can't see him, but bukster being really aggressive, but lots of health left on kRoNic. bukster not really able to push that too heavily. Isn't going to chase him down there, because that would have been a kill zone with that rocket launcher in close quarters. Oh, the ambush with the double jump. And a rail. Clutch is now in big trouble. 27 health, and a rocket as well. bukster back in the fight. But a tall order, 3 straight champions.
Clutch was the problem champion for this round. Not so much for other ones in this map, but bukster's played around it quite well up until this point. But still, bukster, if he can take out 5 seconds, I don't think it's going to be possible. kRoNic just going to play that clock. 2 seconds to go, and he's going to win. There we go. Final round for both players. Final map, final round.
It's game time for both of these players at this point.
But how
no
do
one
they play
wants
it?
to go out.
Because kRoNic has had good success at dealing with Galena by just rushing him down. But also, he has unfortunately fumbled it a little bit as well here, which also cost him clutch.
Well, in round 3,
it's a bit all in.
It was in round 3. We saw the attempt at a clutch rush, and he went into 2 totems, and because of that, he died. There's the rocket. I think actually getting a good start. kRoNic opted to go for the rail before the rocket, I think. Unless he himself was able to take one early. For him to catch him that early, I don't think kRoNic was able to get every single one of his weapons at the start. Oh, the missed rocket. He had to stop dead in his tracks. That wasted a few seconds.
Another totem disappeared. Oh, it almost ran straight into that rail missed. Oh. And that one isn't. kRoNic's going to land the follow-up, and that's going to take out bukster's Galena, that has been his star champion by far, is now out of bounds for the rest of the series.
It can be quite a panicking situation when your absolute best champion has just been taken out and now you have to win without them. Not saying you can't win with Ranger and Nyx because they're both fantastic champions. We can see the aggression here, but unfortunately it doesn't work out. Tries to go in for the die roll, but teleports right into a shield wall, and he is now in big trouble. He can't really go for timeout here. 4 minutes left of the round. He has to get these frags, but look at how healthy Clutch is at this point.
But that's Clutch. Clutch is a big, healthy boy. He had so much health there. bukster hit 3 clean rails back to back, but just too much health to deal with, and kRoNic playing on it brilliantly so far. Now finds himself 1 champion away from making regionals.
bukster thinks he's got to be aggressive to try and get these frags, but he can't be too aggressive. The shield wall! He does manage to get 1 frag. He goes straight through. But now, kRoNic.
I mean, that was a brilliant play from bukster, just to force that fight straight away. He pinned him into a corner, and again, using the splash damage behind him. bukster being very aggressive right now. Look at this, he's rushing him down.
That last minute double jump, and he gets it! This is the verge of a comeback. This could be 3 straight kRoNic, and it kind of looks like he's a little bit tilted as well. Can he keep it together long enough to qualify?
Oh, he's chasing him. He can see him. He's trying to run away. Oh, there's Ghost Walk is popped.
bukster is just, he is on the warpath. He has not stopped moving forward since he got that frag.
He's got the mega health. Vyama's not going to go for another 10 seconds. Can he keep this going? He is hunting him down right now. He is looking for kRoNic.
I think he understands that kRoNic is a bit upset about these 2 frags that he's just taken.
I mean, he's typing in chat. He's letting him know. I mean, someone's in the process of making a big comeback against you, and you're basically telling him in chat that what you're doing is working. You know what I mean?
This is 1 rail. If he got that, we would have no doubt seen bukster go in. But at this stage, both identical on health and probably identical on weapons. I think that kRoNic might have taken that rail. The difference is here, though. 4 rockets. bukster doesn't have a lot of rockets left. There we go. Topped up a little bit.
I mean, these are very 2 squishy champions, though. I mean, this can be over in the blink of an eye.
Hang on. Misses it, but there we go. The reactive Ghost Walk, but he's right there. Point blank, gets 1 rail.
He got hit before he got hit that armor. That would have been death. Heavy armor, though. That's what bukster needs. Oh, he had to with the rail.
He's got 1. He can tank a rail too. He's going in for the aggression. Here's 1 rocket. Can he finish this off?
They're trading damage for damage. Ghost Walk is popped. kRoNic's Ghost Walk's going to be coming back soon as well.
And he would have just picked up Hourglasses. I think it might be back. Goes in for the aggression, but is it enough? The chase. kRoNic is weak.
He saw her down there. Maybe expect him to keep around the corner.
This is too tense. This is a mirror match. Whoever wins this fight will make regionals, and whoever doesn't is out of the championships for good. This is too tense to call at this stage. bukster looking really good, but look at the health and armor. They are once again identical.
And kRoNic's managed to sort of compose himself a bit better this time. That row's going to connect.
Oh, oh no. No, expletives.
Oh dearie me. I mean, I don't know what. I don't know why you'd stop to type that when you're in this situation. It's wasting valuable seconds.
He's wasted precious time. He's going in. Trying to deny. He's going in again. No, the risk! I don't know whether... I don't know.
I mean, that kind of aggressiveness is what made that comeback start, so I cannot blame him for sticking to it at the end. That was just back and forth as it gets. After looking so one-sided at the start of that final round, the fact that he was able to bring back those two champions straight away, and it all came down to one final moment. I mean, it was a risk. That was he just all in that situation.
If he negated all health items, I think he must have banked the last minute of, I'm going to catch him either on heavy armor or right before, and he just must have banked on like a direct or something that does humongous damage, because I think he was just expecting to do so much damage, his health didn't matter, because as he went in for Ghost Walk, he fumbled his double jump, so he wasted that sort of small amount of time getting the mega, so he didn't even get the mega right there. And then at the last possible minute, when he was about to go into Ghost Walk, he ignored the health. He didn't even try and pick it up before he went in for that fight. So a couple of bold decisions at the very end. Unfortunately, the final call just didn't work out. And you could see in game chat there was some real frustration coming from both of these players as well. Like, I mean, they were both really...
You can tell they both really wanted it. And by the way they were playing, I mean, just some of these replays, I love the replay highlight reel at the end of a series like this, because it just shows you some of those ridiculous moments. And this series was full of them. From start to finish, back and forth, the definition of a back and forth game. It was last map, last round, last champion. It does not get closer than that.
Now, bukster, at the very last moment of that Blood Covenant, that was really where things started to look a lot more promising for him, because he played so well, and his Galena in particular put in so much work. Like, this was clearly a Galena specialist, because it wasn't just a matter of managing his totems really well. When he wanted to throw those long-range totems, he was getting them where he wanted to go, even when the distance was quite large. You needed to know the trajectory of those. But Blood Covenant, this is where things went really close. He actually retreated. You can actually notice there, on the right-hand side of your screen, you saw the essence of the red totem, but that mustn't have been clocked by kRoNic. But right here, it came down to the fact that in the final round, bukster did lose his Galena, and he was forced into having to make a comeback. Unfortunately, he wasn't quite able to close it. He started it, he got the next frag really quickly because he got a great spawn and he capitalized, and he was still running, like he was going super fast forward. Caught him again when it was the next mirror, but couldn't chase it enough, and unfortunately couldn't finish it out.